Hello, friend. This is part three of our three-part chat interview with best-selling author Barry Roberts Ross. Let's start where we left off. It's loaded with wisdom nuggets. Thank you for joining me. I am your host, Joy.
Point that I really knew I was going to be okay. I really did. That communication at that level of spirit. When I stopped worrying or being concerned about my body, and with the pain medicine I was on, and just where I was in the process, I let go of my body and I just let my spirit be free. I just let just went pure spirit.
How
And
did
I was
you do
able,
that?
I'm sorry.
How did you do that? What do you mean?
I think I used the word surrender in the book where it says, I surrender all.
Okay.
And before I was so worried about the physical part,
Yeah.
just the physical part. Oh, this hurts. Oh, how is this? Oh, this, oh, that, or whatever. And started thinking about the spiritual aspect, started really thinking more about the spiritual aspect of the journey we were on.
Yeah. Wow.
So I surrendered that. And then my mind, spirit, and everything was able to let go of that and start dealing in spirit, start praying to God, start talking to God on a whole nother level, and asking, not being grateful, no, very grateful, but asking um, God to use me, asking him to let me come back and be whole so that I could do my purpose.
That's powerful. What you just said. I've gotten to that. And you lived this, so you're not. It's not like you're reading somebody's life or we're reading about Job. Yes, you lived this. Wow. Three ways that you help and advocate for families and for patients, if you don't mind, and it doesn't have to be three.
No, it's fine. I can give you three, I can give you more. But one of the things after coming through the treatment and then the years of recovery, because you just don't go through treatment and recover. It takes years. It takes a toll on your body. Um, it takes a toll on your psyche. A lot of people, you get like, it's so funny. I was talking to somebody Saturday who is a cancer survivor now, 6 months out of treatment. And he was talking about how um, he thinks he needs to talk to somebody. And I said, of course you do. You have PTSD. Okay. It's traumatic. And you just don't have cancer, go through treatment and, start back where you left off. That's not what happens. But anyway, going through, when I was at Emory, when I was going through right past the treatment and into recovery, they were starting a program called Patient Advocate or Patient Advocacy. And they were looking for people who had gone through cancer to help talk to other cancer patients. And most importantly, to help talk to their families and their caregivers. Because caregivers take, the person is sick, but the caregiver, to me, are the heroes.
Mm.
They are the heroes in cancer battles. No matter how the battle ends, they are still the heroes.
Mm.
And so in my advocacy, I talk to patients. First of all, I give them advice like get a second opinion. If you, and get a second opinion. I would tell them things like not just stay strong, but stay positive. And also, I will tell them that you've got to have a support system. You can't do this by yourself. And you have to ask people because a lot of times people will get a diagnosis and they're ashamed. I don't want anybody to know what I have cancer. I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to do this by myself. That my husband's initial thing when they told him that he had cancer was, okay, so I'm going to drive myself to the appointments. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You have no idea. You can't just drive yourself to appointments, and get chemo or radiation or any of this stuff. But people need people around them to support them. You need to ask every question you can think of. There are no dumb questions. You need to express your feelings and not try to hold it in and be strong. You need to talk as much as you can talk and tell. The better off your treatment will be, the better off you will feel. Because one of the first things the doctors are going to tell you when you go through treatment is you can't have any stress. You have to let it go. You have to, all that stuff, anything that's going on with friends and family and work and children and all of that. This is the time to concentrate on you. And stress just makes the cancer worse. The cancer feeds off of stress. It really does. It feeds off of it. And you have to be at peace. You have to be at peace. The other way I advocate for patients is I talk to the doctors on the other side about what's going on with patients. I said, okay, so that's your plan. But if you're planning for patients, then you need patients on the planning committee to tell you that you're planning for patients. Okay. So I advocate in a lot of ways. I advocate to offer, like I said, to offer multiple disciplines. So they don't just offer chemo and radiation and surgery. How about offering some yoga? How about some nutrition? How about how you can eat right? How about an exercise, a light exercise program? Or how about having, instead of just having the doctors and nurses go in, how about having a chaplain show up every day at the patient's bedside, or or somebody, or a counselor or somebody like that. So I advocate a lot.
No, and you know what you're talking about. You lived it.
Yeah.
Going through that. How long was, because you talked about, yeah, how long did you go through that whole process to get to the other side of being, it's 11 years now. How long did it take until you weren't in that pain and you were well?
About 2.5 to 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about your husband? How long did it take your husband?
Longer. It probably took him 3 to 4 years because he was on oral chemo for almost 2 years after his initial treatments. Yeah.
And he's doing well now?
Yeah, he's doing very well. He's doing fine.
You're stationed at Emory still?
Yes.
How do people do all hospitals have patient advocates? How does a person going through this or another challenge, how do they get or find a patient advocate?
Well, a lot of the big hospitals, big university hospitals, which is what I recommend if you have cancer and if there's any way you can get to a research hospital, and those are the big university of whatever state you are in, big like Emory, or in Ohio, it's Ohio State, or those hospitals. If you can get to those, you have, according to all the national data, you have a 25% better chance of surviving that 5 year. 5 years is usually, most people, they look to survive 5 years. I've doubled that. My husband and I have doubled that, which is amazing. But the bigger the hospital, they probably do have patient advocate councils, advocacy councils. If you're in a smaller hospital, please ask for a social worker. People think social worker and they think kids and, other issues, but most hospitals have social workers. to help the patients. They're the next best thing to a patient advocate. So, yeah.
Do you have and I'm going to end by asking you to tell us how to get a copy of your book. But before I do that, do you have any parting words or motto or words of wisdom, favorite Bible verse, or all of those that you can share with us?
I think the favorite Bible verse, and it's my husband's favorite Bible verse, and I've adopted it, okay? And it's Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. For everything there is a season. Yeah. During the period that my husband and I were going through our cancer, we had broken down, we had wept, we had mourned, we had cast away, we had lost. We had kept silent, and we had been at war. But now, more than anything, we needed to heal, love, and find peace.
Wow. Wow.
So,
wow. Please, do you have your book handy to just
I
wanted to, please,
of
please.
course.
I would love that. I'm looking forward to finish reading and sharing it. Stronger with Two.
Right.
All right. Where can someone get a copy?
Oh, it's on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. All of the major book distributors. Everybody has it. And if they want a signed copy from the author, they can contact me. But I also have a webpage, barryellenross.com.
Okay, please. That way they can get a signed copy, or we can get a signed copy.
So yes, I'm very strong on that. Yes, ma'am.
May I and I'm stretching this, but you're just you're so good. So while I'm getting wisdom, let me see. In continuing with your health, is there something that you do to or not do to continue being well?
Yes. Lots of things I do. I walk every day. I average anywhere between 7 and 10 miles.
Really?
4 or 5 times a week. Yeah.
Okay.
Drink water. You can't drink enough water. You need to drink water. I think I don't stress so much. I mean, one of the things I always quote my dad. He said, don't worry about anything. Have a few concerns and pick those. Pick those, and make those things you can do something about, because worry it's pointless and it's detrimental to your health. Most cancers, most diseases they are finding are lifestyle. They're lifestyle diseases. Very few diseases are hereditary. What's hereditary? If people say, oh, my aunt had this, my mom had this, my dad had this. What's hereditary is the lifestyle that you're doing that they did also. Very few.
Best thing, following in the same path.
Eating the same foods. I was raised eating all of this, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
This is what we grew up eating. Well, back then you didn't have choice, but now you have choice. So make better choices. But most diseases are lifestyle. And so I'm very aware. I'm not perfect. I'll go eat a pizza or eat McDonald's or whatever. I don't eat McDonald's at all. I'm joking. But I've become very aware of what I eat, of who I associate with, because there are a lot of negative people with negative energy that affect your well-being. And so, as I tell people, you ask for Barry, here she is, because I'm just that girl. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. And you have to find it within yourself to care enough about yourself to let those people go and wish them well. And you have to forgive people. You have to forgive them, but that doesn't mean you have to trust them, and it doesn't mean they get to stay in your life.
Wow.
You know, so sometimes people leave because it's best for you and for them. And you know, you can see what happens on the other side, but right now we need you to concentrate on you, and he's giving you space to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tell my patients, your life, your fight. It's your life. Your fight's not going to look like Barry's fight when I was fighting cancer. Your fight's not going to look like my husband Charles's fight. But it's your life. You have to determine how you fight it and who's there in your army.
Wow. Your life, your fight.
That's my motto.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a blessing. It's just besides being refreshed, I just, talking, it's been refreshing, but also it's nice to know that God is faithful, not to just hear it, but to hear that you're 11 years on the other side, and for what you went through. You're gorgeous, by the way. So it's
Oh
11
my
years.
God.
Am I right?
Thank you.
Is it
11 years? Yes. Yes, it is. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Please hold your book up one more time. Let's get it in, because people need to get that stronger with just the encouragement and the wisdom on it. And I always say when I'm doing this and I'm new to it, that God wants us to choose what will give us life.
That's correct.
On it. So yes. And I like your picture in the back too.
Oh, thank you. It's part of my army. I'm surrounded. Those are my angels.
And travel.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barry Roberts Ross. Thank you. Blessings and peace. Thank you for joining me on Life and Faith Chats.
Thank you for having me.